show is sponsored by HiveMind CRM. It is more than just a CRM. It is a real estate and business mastermind that comes with an all-in-one CRM. You can have unlimited websites and users. You can call, text, RVM, and email all in one user interface. And you can set up custom automations for any type and multiple businesses. 65% of companies start using a CRM system within the first 5 years of business. Once implemented, the HiveMind will save you on marketing, give you more time, and make more money. One of our users had his first $100,000 month using our system in June. We want to see you automate and accelerate your business. Text us at 210-972-1842 for future meetings, and of course to get our $1 course on how to make more than 6 figures on one land deal. You can schedule your free demo today at hivemindcrm.io.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Anthony with the Hive Mind Show. We got the Hive with Us podcast. We have a very special guest today. I was watching this gentleman's YouTube videos before I ever got a deal, right? So you're just scanning through YouTube, just seeing who has information, who's sharing, what type of information they're sharing. And I really found the FlipMan's videos really interesting and cool because he speaks slowly, carefully, methodically, and he's just willing to share the information, walking people through deals. And just the way that he talked about stuff, he just made it seem so simple. So I was like, just always watching his videos and checking him out, following his reels. And then now today we get to hang out with him on the podcast and see what else he's doing right now. So this is for me, I feel like I'm interviewing a celebrity. So the Flip Man.
What's happening, man? What's happening?
So, brother, man. Yeah, I love that shirt. Yeah, can we read that for the audience real quick? That's a good
Yeah, a lot of them probably have seen it already. But free. Yeah, it's obviously it's a play on the defunct Toys R Us or whatever. So the lady that which she on our Thursday night I guess you would call podcast that we call them flippanars. I said it one night and then I told her, you need to design me a shirt on that, blah blah blah. And so when she showed me this, I was like, man, that's brilliant. So I have like all colors in this, man, because I only really wear the stuff that brands what I do. I guess you guys may do the same thing. So, yeah, I love it. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's where it came from. So offers are free, man. Hey, it doesn't cost you anything to ask somebody for something. That could be anything from, hey, I take you out on a date to, hey, do you want to sell this house or this piece of land? And offers are free. And I got that from just real backstory. One of my friends, how would I say this? He's, really aggressive with women as far as being persistent. And we used to always say that he likes to beg or whatever. He said, begging is free.
That's a good closing strategy. You make enough offers, sooner or later, somebody's going to say yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Numbers game, man. You know how it is. That's sales.
It works with women too.
Yeah. Most won't, but enough will.
So where I want to start this off is like, I know you've been around a long time, but I've never like how long you've been in real estate, and like I know you always help like new people. Like I think it's like your driving force.
Well, just to give a timeline on, I started in I got introduced to real estate like a lot of people get introduced to business opportunities by mistake or whatever. Really this time in 2002, so 20 years ago. So October 2002, a friend of mine and now his now wife were going to school to become real estate agents. And the guy that normally taught the class that particular night, he wasn't there. And the substitute, he didn't talk about being a real estate agent. He talked about investing in real estate and creative ways of doing it with no money. And so my friend, knowing how I was from college, I was an entrepreneur. And back then when I was in college, I'm an old guy, in the 90s, if you were an entrepreneur or said you had entrepreneur aspirations, it means you were lazy and you didn't want to work. You know what I'm saying? So, but they knew that's how I was in college or whatever, coming up with all kind of crazy business ideas. And so he mentioned it to me. And so I didn't act on it at that time. So fast forward to Christmas of that same year. A couple of days after Christmas, actually, December 27th, I was sitting at my mom's house. I live in Birmingham, Alabama, but where I grew up is about 3 hours southwest of Birmingham. And so I was there for Christmas and just up really early, and she was preparing breakfast. And so, just watching TV, and I saw one of Carlton Sheets, No Money Down infomercials, and I had seen it over the years, and, you're like, yeah, right, or whatever, and so because, the infomercials don't tell you anything. Carlton helped me make this much money. Oh, he may help me make this much money, but how did you make the money? So anyway, so I was watching it about halfway through one of the episodes, and so back then, once it goes off on that channel, you go up the dial, it's on another channel or whatever. And so I watched it from beginning to end. Again, it didn't tell me anything, and but at the end of it, I thought to myself, he can't be lying about all of this. Mm-hmm. And so back then, this 2002, my mom didn't have internet at her house, and so when I got back to Birmingham, I got online and I went to this entrepreneurial message board I used to frequent, and I asked the question, does Carlton Sheets program really work? And one person replied, and he was like, yeah, it does, but Ron LeGrand's course is better. So I did a search for Ron's course, found his website. He had a package, I think it was called Quick Turn Real Estate. And it was $1,500. And at that time, I was working at Bell South, which is now they got bought up by AT&T a few years ago. And so, I was making about $45,000 or whatever, which was decent for a single man, no kids or anything for Birmingham, Alabama. And so, but anyway, I didn't have $1,500, no point. And so what they had on there, and I guess that's marketing, is a condensed version of it for $69.99, $80 with shipping. So I received it, and it was in cassette tape form, and so I listened to it. And Ron, if you ever watched any of Ron's stuff, right, he'll make you think you can run through a brick wall. He's very good at explaining and motivating at the same time, which is a great combination. And so I thought to myself, I said, man, if I had to get a second job, I'm going to save this $1,500 to get this course, right? So I thought about eBay a couple of days later, did a search for his name on eBay. There were actual auctions on that particular course, and bid it on the auction, lost the auction. And back then, sellers could reach out to you by email. And so what the dude did is he reached out to me by email and asked me, did I want a bootleg copy of it? And so we agreed on $400, which still was a struggle for me to pay. Something didn't get paid. I'm not sure what, but I bought it, and I went from zero knowing about real estate. I mean, like literally nothing, knowing nothing about real estate, to learning about wholesaling, lease options, subject to, fix and flip, owner financing, which that's what lease option and subject to really is. Maybe a couple more things in the course. And so I was just overwhelmed with information. But what stuck to me was wholesaling, lease options, and bandit signs. Okay. And so it took me about 3 weeks to go through everything. I felt I had to go through everything, even though I wasn't as attracted to some of the other methods than those two methods in that way of marketing. The reason bandit signs stuck out to me because I'm an introvert by nature, and so me calling someone to try to get them to do something versus someone calling me wanting something, and so that's what bandit signs did for me. So I ordered 50 bandit signs. I overpaid for them, but again, I had never done anything like that. I spent $250 on those signs. Again, something didn't get paid, making that sacrifice. I picked them up on a Friday morning and put them out on a Sunday morning. I mean, I picked them up on a Friday evening, put them out on a Sunday morning. And now this is not going to be, I don't want anybody to think this is going to be your situation or your story, but the very first two calls I got received that Monday morning were deals. Right. One of them was a lease option deal, and the other one was a wholesale deal. The lease option deal, an interesting story in itself. Okay, so a normal situation, parent died, left the property to her son, but the house still had a mortgage on it, and he didn't live in the house. He had his own house with a mortgage on it, so he couldn't afford both payments. So they owed too much for it to be a wholesale deal based on what I understood about it, because I was still vague on everything. I didn't have anyone to tap into. Nothing like this existed back then. We're talking 20 years ago. So, I explained to him how the lease option works and how I was going to get paid and what the benefit would for him to be. In that situation, it was just going to relieve him of that monthly payment so the house wouldn't go into foreclosure. So he understood. I told him that the way I'm gonna make my money, I'm gonna pay the mortgage, but I'm gonna lease it out at a higher price, and I'll get the difference. I'm also going to accept a down payment up front from whoever the tenant buyer is. Also, we're going to have a price based on what's owed on the property, but I'm going to sell it to the tenant buyer at a higher price. So I explained all that to him, right? All right, so just remember that. I explained it all to him. So I advertised the property in the newspaper. This is how long ago again, because newspapers basically don't exist anymore. This lady called me. She was a nurse, and she wanted it for her family, single mother, blah, blah, blah. And so I met her at a restaurant, and I wanted $5,000 down. And so she gave me 50 $100 bills sitting in that restaurant, Old Charlie's, on Roebuck Parkway. People in Birmingham know what I'm talking about, where it used to be. It's not there anymore, but and so I was just blown away. I literally, because I had tried so many other businesses before, I literally could have stopped then, right? Because I was like, man, this stuff works, like really. So me thinking that I was creating a win-win situation, the house needed some repairs. It was livable, but it needs some stuff. After she had viewed the property, forgot about that part. She viewed the property and everything. Then we met with the money. And so the guy that owned the house, that inherited the house, he mentioned through our conversations that, he does handiwork, whatever, he fixed stuff. And so I thought I could, put them together so he could do some of the repairs she wanted on the house before she moved in or whatever. And boom. So on top of that, he wanted to refinance his house. So a guy that I worked with did mortgages on the side. So I connected those two. So I shared with my friend that I work with that, and I just seen him the other day, hadn't seen him in years. I told him I had a tenant, and she had already gave me the $5,000. He told him that, what had happened, not trying to blow the deal up or anything. He was just like, hey, it's all working out. Okay, so when he was scheduled to meet the lady over there, she was there. So when he got over there, he came over there in anger and told her to get off his property. Tyrone does not own this property, and he was going to call the police, right? And so, of course, she had thought she had been scammed. And so she called me crying, say, hey, he just said that you don't own the property and blah, blah. I don't know what happened to my money. I said, no, I'm going to bring you your money now. Where are you right now? And so even though I had spent about 700 of it, but I don't remember how I came back up with all of the 5,000. But I took her money. And in our conversation with my friend that worked at Bell South with me, he mentioned that the guy was a minister. That never came up in our conversation. Not that it matters, but so I called him, and he and I got in a serious swearing match, cursing each other out and everything. And so I knew I could hit him below the belt when I said, I don't know who you're the pastor, what congregation you're the pastor of, but I feel for your members. And he said, the last thing he ever said, last thing he said to me, he said, if I ever see you again, it ain't gonna be pretty. So anyway, so that blew up in my face. And so, but I had the wholesale deal, typical story, similar to that one, but in the sense that mom died, two sisters inherited the property. Like a lot of people, we're not selling mama's house. We have too many members here, blah, blah, blah. We'll just rent it out to family members, and them not paying, going through that for 4 or 5 years, having to do the renovations. They were what, tired landlords at that point.
Mhm.
So being tired landlords, so they called me. They wanted $20,000 for the house. At that point, I still didn't know and wasn't sure about ARVs, but it just sounded like it was a deal. So I put it in the contract for $20,000. Matter of fact, I showed up in this was in 2003. So I showed up in my this was February of 2003. I showed up in my 1985 Toyota Celica convertible, white, and to one of them's house to sign the contract. They actually thought I was going to have the money with me. I was like, no, it doesn't work that way or whatever. And so put it on the contract for the 30 days, advertised it in the newspaper again. This real estate agent called me, told me, hey, he had a buyer for it. And I explained to him the whole deal. Oh, I have it on the contract with the seller. I didn't know any better. And with the seller for $20,000, he said, oh, I'm going to need half of that. Because his buyer's going to buy it at $25,000. So that's the difference of $5,000. He got $2,500 of the $5,000. So I was like, okay, I didn't know, what I'm saying. So, but anyway, so I met the guys, and they gave me $500 earnest money in the shopping center parking lot. 10 days later, we closed it. So that was my first deal. That was March of 2003. So I basically started like the beginning of February and closed that first week of March. So roughly 30 days. And that's with a deal blowing up in my face or whatever. I often think what I would have done if that first deal would have blown up in my face and I didn't have the second deal right behind it. How long would I have pursued it, what I'm saying, before I got to an actual deal. After, I guess we won't never know. But also, long story short, so that's how I got started. That's 2003. Fast forward to 2008. So I love the internet. Just internet marketing and how much opportunity it can provide. So when I discovered YouTube, I had tried to make money with different things, not really nothing to talk about. When I discovered YouTube, I said, wow, I could just start putting out content and I could meet people all over the country, maybe do deals in different markets, maybe sell a course if they want to actually deal with me personally, but I'll give the information away, right? And no one knew who I was. So by me just giving away so much value, it creates trust or whatever. That because I'm literally helping people feed their families, and it's not costing them anything but the time putting in to educating themselves. So that's how the FlipMan stuff came about or whatever. I think I started actually calling myself that maybe 2010 or 11 or whatever. And so that's how that all came about. So the channel has been in existence since August of 2008. So over 1,000 videos now or whatever. So. Including the YouTube shorts. Well, but that's where we are.
That is amazing. What's amazing, I didn't realize you've been in the real estate game almost 20 years. That's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Anthony is 40 and I'm 30. So it's just
wow. I'm 52. Yeah.
And that's amazing, man. So, hey, just real quick on that deal, why did it blow up? He didn't understand that you were going to sell it on a wrap or something.
Oh, I forgot the most important part. He thought he should have gotten all of that money, that $5,000. Yeah, that's why he was mad.
You had already negotiated with him just to kind of take it over as a lease, and he didn't know how much you were going to make on the deal.
Yeah, but I explained it to him, but he got it probably, but he didn't get it. But once my friend told him, the lady had already gave me $5,000, a lot of that was based on him being broke or whatever. And him being angered because whatever his financial situation was, he thought that money should have been his or whatever. So that's what he was angry about.
And now you know better. We know to put the paperwork in place and do all that other stuff so they can't wiggle out of it anymore.
Well, yeah. Well, we had paperwork in place. He had signed an agreement or whatever, but he was not going to allow that situation to exist or whatever. You see what I'm saying? So it's just best to walk on that. And especially back then, because I didn't know what I was doing or whatever. So
I was say that was a pretty complex deal, man. That had to be a really good course because I mean, you did a pretty complex deal for like your very first deal.
Yeah, I explained it to him. I understood the process, and and why it was important that I explained how I was going to make money or whatever, even though it didn't matter in the because he still blew the deal up or whatever. So, but yeah, yeah. Oh, it was a great course. It was a great course or whatever, because again, I didn't know anything. Now I still had questions because you're just still unsure. Some of the lingo and stuff or whatever, but you always prefer to have someone to lean on that's doing it. But it was a very good course for taking someone that didn't know anything about real estate investing to being able to get out there and actually start to make some money. And I feel like I owe I owe Ron $1,500. But I said if I ever met him, I had an opportunity. I got invited to an event a year or so ago, and he was going to be there, but I couldn't make it. It was too short notice or whatever, but I was going to have his bread for him. But people had said, well, you really paid him back in the sense that you helped so many others over the years that, it's been paid forward, who knows how many times. So, or whatever. But yeah, that's how I got started, man.
I love the model, man, and that's why I instantly loved your channel like that. Like I said, because you're giving away the information, and I've seen those courses too. I've seen the price tags on them, so it's like, why would somebody take time out of their day to like give away all this information online? So, can you tell us what that's led to? You said, are you doing deals in different markets? Are you still JVing with people? And also, do you have a course?
Yeah. So how did we'll go with the course part of it first. Well, let's go with why I started doing the channel. Okay, so initially, okay, so when I'm just I guess a given person by nature. Sometimes that gets you in trouble or whatever. But so I would just tell family and friends about what I was doing. And for the most part, most of them never did anything with them. A couple of them did a deal or two or whatever. And so I would sit down an hour or however long they wanted to and talk about it, and then nothing would happen. And so I said, "Whoa, wait a minute! My time is too valuable for that." So I said, if I'm going to actually spend my time to tell people about something that I know that can change their financial situation and change it quickly, um, I'm gonna get paid for it. So I started charging $97 for me to train you on how to do this. I would literally,
$97.
yeah, I would literally sit down with someone and train them for $97, right? And so obviously the prices went up over the years or whatever. And so a lot of the stuff that you see, probably, so the channel has been around since '08. And so this is 22. So what is that, 14 years? Probably the first 10, 11 years, everything that you see I did, and you can probably tell. Now I'm still involved in a lot of the technical stuff or whatever, because that's just how I am. But so that was one of the reasons why. Okay, so if I'm going to tell people about how to do this, I'll give away the information for free to build an audience, number one, and trust. But if you're going to deal directly with me, whereas I'm going to coach you through deals, then that's going to be a cost. Now, for years, I sold unlimited coaching for like under $500 for years, right? And so a lot of people taking advantage of it over the years. And then it just started to, well, I'll get to that part. But so the other reason is that saying one day I'm going to have so many people out there all over the country that I can network them and we can do residential and commercial deals just all over the country. That sort of happened. It's not happened like I really wanted to happen. And it really didn't. I really hadn't really started to push that until I met Jamil Demji and Pace Morby, right?
Yeah.
And Jamil with Keeglin, and they're actually doing it. I was thinking about it, and they were doing it and doing it on a high level. So it really didn't click to me that it could really happen that way. So I started, just putting my energy into setting up stuff to do that, to pursue that side of it, because I can't be everywhere. And you have individuals in all these different markets, like a property that's in the middle of nowhere in Texas. It's a self-storage facility. I just sent out a text message to just people in Texas the other 2 days ago, and I just got an unbelievable response of individuals wanting to help or whatever. So the guy went out and actually took the video and photo of the property. So that's a self-storage facility in a place called Andrews, Texas,
Are
which
you
is
gonna keep it or sell it?
huh?
Are you gonna keep that one or sell it?
No, we're gonna wholesale it. We're gonna
I
wholesale
want it. Just let me look at it.
Okay. Oh well, I got some better ones than that one. So, but anyway, so that was the part of it. So I just have a lot of like-minded people out there that we can network and get money together, win-wins, man. So it's enough money out here, 10 times over, 100 times over when you start talking about real estate, because it's just so much real estate, so many ways to make money with it. It's just mind-boggling. I just got, before we started, so I just got really turned on the land. Not really turned on to it, but turned on to it this year or whatever, and did like 3 deals and made like a significant amount of money on just 3 deals, and I still don't know what I'm doing. Right? It just was just a phone call came from a lady, and she saw something that I put out on commercial. She was calling me about what I had about going on with commercial, and she started explaining what she does. She flips land, wholesales land, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, she just assumed I was doing it. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. We just can't go past that or whatever. So she started to break down what she was doing, and I said, oh, I got some of those leads in the pipeline right now. And so 3 days later, well, a week later, we had that one of the properties that was already in my batch of leads. Already that was a land that I wasn't even going to look at. I just remember looking at the lead or whatever. It was in Texas, and but long story short, so the purpose was to network, maybe create some income through the whatever, selling courses and coaching or whatever, and then feeding my thirst and hobby of internet marketing. So it was a combination of 3 things or whatever. So
that's amazing.
It panned out amazing. I tell you that right now, man. Yeah, and you have created a lot of impact. So I'm really glad you decided to pursue that route, man. That's the company we started, HiveMind, and I'm in San Antonio, Texas, by the way. But,
okay,
that was the kind of the foundation for our company. Is like, let's start to network with everybody across the country and start to work deals together.
Oh yeah, man. I can't wait to talk to you guys after this or whatever about this land stuff or whatever, because what I started doing was once I met her, see, I already had registered and built a website. Did I have the website already? I had to. WeBuyLand2.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the number 2 or whatever. So like, we buy land also or whatever. But anyway, so and so I just started running Google AdWords, and I don't have to tell you guys, landowners are as far as we do the same we do the same type marketing for houses, but with land, the response rate is higher from what we do now.
Mm-hmm.
And then in most cases, they don't owe anything on the property.
Yep.
So, all the equity is there to be captured, whatever that is. It's just I struggle with still knowing what a value is, because I would have to run, and I still do it, not as much as we were, but run stuff through the lady that I met. And she had her method of going about, figuring out what it would be valued at and where it needs to be priced. And so when she gave me a price, well, this is where it need to be at, Ty, for us to make money, I had to go back to them and make an offer or whatever, or counter what they may have asked for. But anyway, so with just marketing for land, it's just a whole. It just opened my eyes, and I'm like, wow. You think about the number of deals you've turned down over the years because you were too lazy to figure it out, right? And even another one, tax lien or tax deed properties. A lady that I met 2 years ago, Only reason I remembered her because she's from England, and so they have that strong English accent or whatever. And she was in Florida, but she just called me about a little over a month ago and said she was in Birmingham doing some business. And so we met for lunch, and she started explaining to me about tax lien and tax deeds. And I've been approached by it and had opportunities before, and I just thought it was too complicated. We have used it as a form of possibly generating motivated seller leads because someone had to pay the taxes, but not actually taking advantage of how the system works. And when she broke that down to me, it finally clicked to me. I was like, dang, man, what is wrong with you? I'm like, and that was basically what she was saying. She said to me, like, what is wrong with you? You do know how much money you can make, by pursuing the way, and say Alabama is one of the states that makes it easiest for investors to make money. You live here or whatever. So anyway, long story short, you don't know everything, but the point is, there's so many ways to make money out here, guys, with real estate. If I rambled and went in all directions, that's the point I'm trying to make. Is so many ways to make money. It's ridiculous. Anyway,
you heard it here first, folks. The FlipMan said land's way easier.
Oh my God, yeah. All right. Well, it's easier once you figure out the evaluation part of it. Once you figure that out, it's over with. Like, oh my God, it's over with. Because, like I say, the amount of leads that you can generate it dwarfs houses, and maybe because it's probably part of this too, is that you have more competition in houses, and so a lot of the same activity is going to come to an owner versus of a property that's a single family residence, versus with land they may not get as much activity. That may be a little of it also, but from my experience, just this year of doing this with land, it's a lot easier to generate leads and to do those deals. And one of the other things I love about it, not always, but in most cases, like with houses, especially if you're trying to, let's just say this: virtually wholesaling land versus virtually wholesaling houses is
night and day.
Night and day. Guess and the main reason is you don't have to ever see it, right? Your buyer may not even see it and want it or whatever. The seller may not even, in a lot of cases, even if the seller lives in the area, they don't even live next door to the property or whatever. So now, as someone trying to do it virtually, you don't have to worry about, not always, but in most cases, having to show the property. Because if a buyer wants to see it, they go at their own leisure. Guess why? Because the door is literally always open. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's fenced or something, but the door is always.
We had buyers jump a fence for us looking at a property that we own to go look at the property.
Oh yeah, most people do that. That would be something I would do. But allegedly. But yeah, so that's the other thing, is that the door is always open. Now, we had a property a lot, and I never thought we could wholesale that lot. It was in Miami, and the lot was next door to where the lady lives at, and it was so small. I think it was like, I don't even think it was a quarter of an acre. I think it was like 0.18 of an acre. And we ended up splitting, let me see. We ended up splitting, I think, 32,000. She and the lady that helped me with it or whatever, on it or whatever. And, just
makes no sense.
Didn't make no sense, man. I was like, why would somebody want this? Anyway, what did I know? So, yeah.
I flipped a couple houses, man, and I made 40 grand, 45 grand. And it's like land, like that's a pretty cool little land deal right there. 40 grand. There's no roof, no toilets, no paint, no furnace, no air conditioning. Like, yeah, we're just gonna stick with land. I'm a contractor, so I know numbers. I'm just not interested. Yeah.
Oh wow. Oh yeah, you got it from the whole perspective then. Okay. Boom.
Yeah. And now we're doing some pretty cool deals, man. We're going after like farms and ranches that are in the millions now. I think we got a little niche cornered.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. I can't wait to talk, man.
Yeah, the progression is pretty simple. It's the same game. You know, it's you got buyers that are after it and sellers that don't want it. So
Yeah.
that's
Cool.
cool, man. Yeah. I'm glad to hear that you're doing land or that you started to get into it. So that's cool. Yeah, we get excited about it.
Yeah, by accident again, So one of the things that with land too, and we've been pursuing self-storage also here recently, is that that's obviously one of the uses of it if you find a good location for self-storage. I have another idea that I'm not going to share here with on the thing, but I'll share with you guys later on. You may can help me with it, but for some good use for land also. But it's
Nice.
amazing. Like sometimes now I did do a test, and you guys, I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna interview you all right now. So so I bought I bought it, two lots. They were right next door to each other. Jason, if you want to call them. And they were in a D neighborhood, so basically the hood, right? I bought them for $500 each.
Wow.
The closing cost was more than what it cost the two land. So the land was $1,000. Both lots were $1,000. The closing cost was $1,150. So it cost more to close on them. So anyway, long story short, I ended up just selling them to a friend. I think I lost $100 on it. Right? I think I sold it to her for. Let me see. No, I think I made $150 on it because I sold it to her for $2,500. I think I was $2,250, $2,350 or something like that in on the deal or whatever. So but I couldn't get rid of those. What would you all have done? Well, houses in that area, I'll just do this. So and your contract, so I'm assuming my line of thinking is right on this. So if houses are not selling at a certain amount, a new construction won't make sense because the cost of the construction will be more than what houses are selling for. So in that situation, in neighborhoods like that, do you have you all ever done any deals like that? And if you have, what do you do to move stuff like that when you're talking $60,000 to $70,000 neighborhood? So a new construction is not going to make sense unless I'm missing something.
I'll tell you right now exactly the strategy. We don't do little info lots, but easy on those types of deals. People are willing to overpay for them. So like if they're only worth 1,000, you can sell them for 3,000 as long as you do a seller finance. So you could have did like $100 down. Like let's say you got a 500 into it, you could have probably sold it for like 2,500 with 100 down, 200 down, and then just let them make monthly payments on it.
Okay, all right. So
yeah.
Okay, I got you. Which I thought of that, and I really didn't want to fool with it, but I thought of that option also. But I was thinking a little more than that. Okay, but I have to be realistic. You only got it for $500, so whatever.
So one thing about land buyers is that they usually like to sit on it. So like us, all our land properties that we sell, we don't even care what they do with it. If they're going to build on it or not, they just want to own it. So in that standpoint, people just want to own land because they know it increases in value. So whether they build on it or not, they might wait for gentrification to come in and actually build on it 10 years from now. But you just sell the thing, whatever it is, and let them hold it.
Yeah, I have some friends that just collect those. They just buy those little tiny lots. So the game goes for these, like even before you get it under contract, right? So if you know you're going to pick it up for $500, you could just put like a ghost ad on Facebook Marketplace and then see if anybody's buying at that price. So you could say, hey, I'm going to get it for 500. So your ad says, land 500 down. That way, that you got 2, 3, 4 people interested, you'll take their 500, use that to close. You got 0 in, and now you got a note for, $5,000.
I got you. Now I did buy. I actually purchased this one also, a infill lot in a neighborhood where the houses are selling between 400 to 450. I bought it for 5,000, and I ended up. Now you couldn't have told me I wasn't going to sell that for 30 plus cash. What I had to end up doing though was I owner financed it. I sold it for 33, but I owner financed. He put 10 down, $300 a month, no interest, right? And so and then I put an ad out there to sell the note, right? And so now I have a guy that's going to pay the note. He's getting appraisal on it right now for what is it? 14. Let me see what he said. 14.5 or whatever. So and so because 23,000 is still owed on it or whatever. So I agreed to the 14.5 on it. Um uh but I thought I could have sold that one cash for 33,000. I think I could have if it was last year this time.
You
Right.
could have sold it. So usually in info lots, it's like 20% of the neighboring houses, 20 to 25% of the neighboring value. So if the house is worth 400, that's probably $80,000 lot.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So I just should have been patient.
Yeah, that's an $80,000 lot minimum.
I was gonna say,
Wow.
man, what I've come to find with land is that people will buy at any price if you wait
Yep.
long enough. Like
Yep.
you can sell it for 125% of value if you just wait. It might take 6 months, it might take 9 months, but somebody will come in there and somebody's happy to way overpay for land for whatever reason.
Wow. Okay. I
Yeah.
should have just been patient on it, man.
But
Okay.
like I said, there's a billion of them out there. So everybody's running to the houses. Everybody's chasing after the houses. And me and Daniel are like, the houses are behind us and we're looking out into the country, outskirts, unrestricted. And
Yeah.
the land is infinite in any direction in any major city. I mean, you just
How do you all and then it turned into interviewing you all? How do you
It says, ask FlipMan, ask HiveMind. We're going to rename it. And you
all
get
right. So what do you do about land that's land that's what do they call it? There's no road
landlocked.
access. No road access.
Yeah,
or flood.
landlocked. So
Landlocked, yeah.
you can do a historical record search and see if you can find an old easement. A lot of times when somebody passed the land on from hand to hand to hand to generation, they just forgot to record the easement, or it was never like drawn out on the plat map. So sometimes it's there. In Texas, I don't know how other states work, but you can't have a landlocked property. So if you don't have access to your property, you would have to sue some of the neighbors, one of the neighbors, if nobody wants to grant you access.
Oh wow. Okay. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
but
know how that works in Alabama.
very costly. So it needs to be like a big property that's worth a lot of money, because if it's a little half acre lot and you got to spend 50,000 suing the neighbor to get a half acre, you might as well just chase after something else. But yeah, if you find a big giant property that's landlocked, they're worth pursuing.
I got you. Okay. All
Mhm.
right. Boom. How long you all been doing land? And well, let me ask you this: how long have you been doing, and why did you choose it?
Man, it's funny. It's like the game chose me. We've been, when the end of this year is going to be 4 years for me. I thought I was going to be the best house flipper in the world, right? Because of my general contractor background, which I'm not doing anymore, by the way. But same thing, man. I just started running ads for everything, and randomly I got a 46-acre farm by Fort Worth, and I didn't even know if it was a deal or not. It seemed the price seemed high. I'm brand new, I don't know what to do. But I put together a deal with that lady, and I ended up making 85,000, on like one of my very first deals.
Wow.
So yeah, I was like, I didn't do no rehab. I didn't remodel anything. I didn't have to, absolutely do nothing, and made that kind of cash. So like we started paying more attention to land than houses. And sure enough, every time we got land, it was like 50,000, another 100,000, 120,000. So I'm like, I think we're just not going to look at houses anymore at all. Like, let's just pursue this. Let's double down.
Oh wow, I love it, love it.
Said he kind of had just that cool luck. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, that's where it normally happens. Man. You're looking for one thing and something else, like hey. So how did you? Okay, so how did you start to figure out values? Like, what is someone? When do I know I got a good deal, a great deal?
That's
When,
Daniel.
So a lot of our properties, we use two different versions. So like me and Anthony always joke, Anthony, how big is our buyers list?
0.
We don't have a buyers list because
Okay.
we sell to retail. So we're always looking for retail buyers. So how do we look for retail? We look for agents. We dispo through agents as a pocket listing, or we do marketing through Facebook Marketplace.
Okay,
That's
so
How do you find the values? How would you look them up? Because I would just call Daniel and be like, "Can you send me some numbers? How much is this thing worth?" And then he'll send me the back.
well. Again, I sort of know what I'm doing, but I would just send them to her. You know what I'm saying? And then she would tell me. Now, her process, I don't think she always does, but I think this is most of the time. she would just start calling agents that have listings in that area that appear to be actual land specialists and say, hey, how much is this property worth? We're thinking about buying it. And then on the flip side of it, what she would do is see if they would do an equitable interest listing, meaning, we don't own it, but, we got a contract on it, so we have some equitable interest in it. Would you list it? A lot of agents won't do it, but enough will, or whatever. And so, again, it's on the market at that point. And so, and that's how we've done 4, all of them are sold. That's her process. Like you say, you all have I think that's her thing. She has a 0 buyers list, basically, because a lot of times, I guess if you're doing I'm assuming you all market nationwide for properties.
We're mostly in Texas right now.
Just Texas?
Yeah.
Okay, so but I was getting leads from all over the country. Now, we specifically, I have a ton of leads in Texas. We're gonna have to talk about it. I have a ton. I don't know if all of them are still available because we hadn't worked them in some months. But I have just a whole thing of listing properties in Texas. But anyway, so that was the process. So she didn't have buyers in those markets, that we were targeting, like Miami. We didn't have a buyer. The realtor found that buyer. Where Texas, same thing. The realtor found that buyer. Did one in Alabama, a couple in Alabama. An agent found those buyers or whatever. So I get it. So I guess I've been overthinking it. So, but yeah, that's same thing. No buyers list.
So we're gonna give you a really good gem right here. So the agents, the land broker agents, they don't know what they're doing either.
So it's just a free fall out here for everybody.
So, yeah, I'm gonna say about a deal working right now.
What's the time frame that you all put your properties on the contract for, or do you just list them first and then if you get some feedback on it, then you put them on the contract? Or how you go about that?
So I do a combination of both, man. For the most part, we write them up for a close in 30 to 90 days because people understand that land's going to require a lot of due diligence. The larger the property is, the more due diligence. So if you're going to close on 1,000 acres, man, you might lock that thing up for 6 months, right?
Yeah.
So the sellers understand that not everybody's going to come in and just scribble a big giant check. So the bigger the property gets, the more time they have to give you. But yeah, man, I run what we call ghost ads. So if I know that I'm going to buy a property in an area, I start attracting buyers first, right? So you're not doing anything illegal. You're not like putting the address of the property or pictures of the property online. It just says, hey, I'm over here in this zip code or in this little small town. We like to work outskirts. So we don't do in the city. We work outskirts. So I'll put an ad on like Facebook Marketplace and say, hey, I'm having 5 acres coming up here in this area. And then based on the response I get, I'll know how good my price is, right? So the seller's like, I got to get $100,000 for this 5 acres. So I'll put 5 acres, this area on Facebook Marketplace at, let's say 125 or 150, and then see how many buyers we get. So if I start getting flooded in my inbox and I start just getting message after message after message, I'm like, okay, that's a pretty solid price. And then you can test the market. You start to just drop it, right? So you list it at 150, no messages. You drop it to 145, 140, 135, 130. Then you'll find out where that threshold is. Once you hit that threshold price, then your message box starts to go crazy. And you're like, okay, that's my price that I need to get it at. So then if you're at 100 before your box goes crazy, you'd call the seller back and say, hey, I'm like at 75, I'm at 80, because you already know that you have a ton of interest at 100.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Interesting. Okay, man. Wow. Oh, man. That's some brilliant stuff there. So you basically, so you may get the lead in, I guess, so do you have, when you're doing that, like continuous price drop to see where the interest is, do you already have it on the contract, or you may sometimes not have it on the contract? And
sometimes we don't have it under contract, like I said, and we're not, like I said, we're not doing anything illegal, because you're not like trying to shop a property you don't own. We're just seeing if there's interest for 5 acres at this price in this area.
That's
how we want to know. Yeah. And then if it's red hot, then we'll call the seller back and say, hey, we're ready to go now.
Brilliant. Yeah. I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Yeah. That's some good stuff. That's some good stuff.
You'd be surprised too, because I threw a property on one time on a Facebook Marketplace. I threw it on for like 94,000, right? I think I was getting it for 70, and man, the buyers bid me up to 125.
Wow.
Yeah, like people were just like, I'll take it. I'll take it. Where are you? I got 10,000 in my hand right now. I'm going to come give it to you. Where you at? Give me your address. And so I was
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, something's going on here because my inbox was exploding. Like it was melting. Like I was getting a message every few minutes for like 3 days straight. So I was like, hey, I already have an offer for 100. And they're like, well, I'll pay 105. I'll pay 110. I'll pay 120. I'll give you 125. So I'm like, damn, man, people are going all the way to like 150, 170. I was like, I'm just going to just sell this thing. I'm out of here. I'm going to dump it.
So Facebook Marketplace is probably one of your best places to find buyers.
I like retail land buyers on Facebook. Yeah, like Daniel said, we text agents too, so we'll do both. We pull the agent list, and then we'll just text all of the agents around the property. Say, hey, we got 50 acres coming up. At 10,000 an acre. Do you have anybody that might be interested?
Okay, yeah, that's some good stuff too. What do you do as far as your main method of marketing to generate leads?
For inbound leads or for seller leads?
Yeah, for seller leads. Yeah.
We do a lot of texting.
Texting and PPC.
Yeah, that works well. Yeah, texting works really well. Matter of fact, like I said, we'll if we do the same amount in houses, the response rate of land people it just dwarfs it, man. You know what I'm saying? It's amazing. It's amazing. It is amazing. Now we've done cold calling, the text messaging, and the PPC or whatever. I had some really good land ads that we were running on Facebook. They were really pulling in. The only thing about Facebook is weird is that a lot of times when you reach back out to them, I didn't submit that. I don't own it. So it's a little weird. We sort of had a little kink in there, but it still produced enough. It made sense or whatever. So, wow, man, that's some good stuff, man. That's some big stuff. I like that.
We have
have you? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Story about the land broker thing because he didn't cover that. We're working a deal right now. The two people that own it are both real estate agents. They listed it with a land broker, and they couldn't work for over a year.
Wow.
And we came in, and that's the property working right now.
Oh wow.
Three agents couldn't move.
Well, so do you all worry about when you're pricing it? Do you worry about whether the developer wants it or not? You just say, hey, we just know if enough people out there just like to buy land. You don't care about the developer thing, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we've never sold to a developer at all. We're not looking for them. They're not on our radar because they all want 6 to 9 months to a year of due diligence. So it's like, man, you want to tie up my property for a year? I only got it for 90 days or 6 months. So yeah, we don't even use that as a strategy at all. And then right now they're all folding. The developers and the builders. They're getting scared right now, and the retail buyers aren't scared.
Wow. Oh, no, that's what's up, man. So, I mentioned the self-storage to you. So have you already bought some stuff, or are you just something you're interested in?
Yeah, that's just high on my radar right now. Like, I think that's going to be my depreciation money, right? So I was thinking about apartments for a long time, but I think self-storage has a lot less moving parts, a lot less, risk, a lot less cash burn, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, I can just give you the numbers on this property. Let me give you the situation. Owner lives 7 hours away. Husband died. It was his thing, not her thing. So she knew nothing about it. I think only 2 people are paying. It's 22 units. We have it under contract for $30,000. We're trying to market it for $49,000. So, those are the numbers on it. So. We can talk more on it if that's something you're interested in. I got video and photos of it or whatever. So
yeah, let's look at it, man.
Yeah. So I interviewed this guy AJ Osborne about self-storage. And he said, he said a lot of great things. You need to watch that interview. But he said that there were more self-storage facilities than McDonald's and Starbucks combined.
Dang.
So I did my research. So there's around, I think, 13,000 or so McDonald's, right, in the country. And I think Starbucks around 11 or something like that. So that's like 24,000. And there's 43,000 self-storage, at least 43. I know that's I think it's a little higher than that, but around maybe 45, 46. And 30,000 of those are mom and pops, what they would consider mom and pops. That's a lot of opportunity. And when we've been going now, the only weird thing about it, like you can build lists with residential and a lot of other commercial properties. I got tools that we use on that, but with self-storage, it's a little bit more difficult because a lot of times they're not zoned by a county to reflect that it's self-storage or whatever. So it's a little harder to build lists. So I hired some guys off of Fiverr to basically scrub the internet to find those listings, through Google or whatever. And so we've been building lists that way, and they'll dive deeper into the ones that are owned by, LLCs or some type of business entity to get the actual, owners numbers or whatever. It's probably like at a 50% rate that most of the time it's the right person. So for what we're paying for it, that makes sense, especially on a high dollar, asset like that or whatever, or it can be a high dollar asset or whatever. Yeah. So we have let me see, that one there. Now that one that in Andrews that I'm talking about, that came through, I'm really helping someone with that one or whatever. So more so than being ours, but we got some other stuff that hopefully be in the pipeline that we can put under contract, that we can work out the numbers with the owners or whatever. So just trying to get into a niche that a lot of people are not in, at least on, our side of the game as wholesalers or whatever. But, of course, commercial real estate is vast, similar to land, because with commercial, you have all different types of properties. You have your multifamily, that's 5 units or more, hotel, motels, industrial warehousing, retail, obviously self-storage, single tenant properties. So, it just goes on and on with that. But I love this land stuff, man. Y'all, boy. Hey, I hate you taking this long to reach out to me. So yeah, because what post did you? It was one post that that I made, and I think Anthony commented, "Oh, it ain't that. I'm making 400,000 on a deal."
Like, hey, we're doing land over here.
I forget what it was. It was a Instagram reel that I posted or whatever. That ain't nothing. I'm making 400,000 on the deal.
So for everybody listening, man, I just got excited to hear it. I was like, "Oh shit, FlipMan's doing land." Like,
oh, okay, yeah. Oh, that's funny.
So for everybody listening, a DM and a comment goes a long way. As much as you may think like, "Oh, they're just gonna brush it off and look it over."
Yeah.
I was just excited you were looking at land, man. I was like, he's talking about land.
Yeah. I put out a few, posts or whatever on it. And hopefully I can do a lot more with you guys or whatever. And we can grow together with it or whatever as far as, building more content. But yeah, man, I'm glad that post created that activity to meet you guys just what you've told me and what we've been talking about right now. I can't even put a price on it because you made me look at it differently with all the leads we have right now, which I'm still sharing with you guys. That there's no telling how much money we're sitting on, right?
Yeah.
Because I know how to turn the faucet on generating leads if I don't know how to do anything else. But yeah. Yeah, this has been more than worth it, man. I can't. Oh my god. I love it. Yeah. I hope this has been beneficial to anyone that's been listening because it has been for Tyrone. Yeah,
dude. When somebody actually sees the land vision and they see the potential of the land business, man, I feel like I'm glowing. Yes, somebody saw it. So for you to see it, I'm like, oh shoot, we're gonna work with a FlipMan.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, what tools do you all use? Or you all don't really? I bought Land Vision. I spent almost $7,000 on that, and it's not month. It's not month to month. It's all up front. What tools do you all use to evaluate?
We really just use Zillow.
You mean to tell me I spent $7,000 on a tool that I didn't need, man? Are you effing kidding me?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was gonna tell you, yeah, a lot of where I get my numbers from is I just go to realtor.com and I just see what's listed and what's pending at what prices, and then so I can kind of feel like the brokers and the realtors already did all their homework to get those properties listed at that price. So that should at least be a pretty decent indication of what it might sell for retail. So that we know we got to get it, for cheaper than that.
What if it's in an area where there's not a lot of activity though? Maybe a really rural area.
So that's what we're doing. We're staying like 50 miles or less from the city is what we're doing. So we're going rural, like, tertiary, but not too rural where you're out in the middle of the desert and nobody wants to drive out there. Like there has to be like a distance that they can commute back and forth to work from.
So 50 miles is definitely that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. 50 miles or less.
And that's the sweet spot because people are like, oh, they go on like the desert and like all these desert lots and desert squares, but nobody lives there.
Desert squares, yeah.
Yeah.
So we targeted Arizona heavily. Oh, I got tons of leads out there, just desert squares. It's terrible.
I bought 2 acres in Arizona for like $600 for both acres, but it's like in a little town that's like already crashed 50 years ago. It looks like a little ghost town.
Oh wow! Not with the rolling little dust.
Yeah, tumbleweeds.
So towards the end of the podcast, we always ask is what is a quote that is yours or somebody else's that you resonate with?
Wow, that's a good question, man. So couple of things that I guess that I came up with. So and it's supposed to be to help you understand that this is not easy, but definitely possible. But as I mentioned earlier, you're in the sales business in a sense. Even though you're really giving out money whenever you're dealing with a seller, you're not calling them, asking them about, giving you money. But most won't, but enough will. And that simply means that the majority of people that you call are not, or you come in contact with that's going to sell a piece of real estate, they're not going to give you a price that's going to make sense for you, especially in this wholesale game. But if you it's so worth it because when you do close deals, like you said, Anthony, your first deal was $85,000. You know how many people's lives that changes? Now that's a ridiculous amount on a deal, period. But a first deal, most people's situations change after an $85,000 hit from a deal. Hopefully, you're gonna do more, obviously, but that changes your situation. Now you call into question if you're working a job that you don't even make that in a year, which a lot of people don't, or whatever. Like, why am I even clocking in anymore, or whatever? So, so again, it's not easy. But it's so real. And I'm not the brightest brightest bulb in the pack by no means. And then the other thing, offers are free. That sort of ties back into to most won't, but enough will. So, and the internet, so much content out here, man. Like you say, I spent my dumb ass spent $7,000, and you all are using Zillow and Realtor to evaluate properties. You know what I'm saying? So,
I got a ray of hope for you though. There's a friend of mine who's in Florida, in Miami, and he was doing a ton of houses. I mean, the guy pulls like 1 million records at a time. And so I converted him over to land just a couple of months ago. And he texted me yesterday, actually, that he's using Land Vision and he loves it. So maybe we could set up a call between the 3 of us and see how he's using it and all that stuff.
Okay, yeah, we definitely need to do that.
We'll definitely make that $7,000 back in one deal.
I made it back, but I'd have to spend it. That's the problem. I didn't have to.
Some did get paid.
yeah. So I still got. Let me see. I think I got it in either March or April. So I still have. What is that? Not quite 6 months left. So, but yeah, man. So.
What's that?
That's not what Land Vision does. That's kind of funny.
I don't either, but yeah, he loves it.
Oh, you all don't even know what it does. Well, one of the great things it does is no, I'm just tripping, but it will show you like the wetlands and flood zones and stuff like that. Obviously it diagrams out boundaries and you can pull quote unquote comps. It does a lot of different things or whatever, but it should be cheaper. Let me just say that it should be cheaper.
I was going to tell you, man, too, like if there's some way that we could help with marketing costs, or if we can put one of our people to make, like, to call your old list, like whatever we can do to collab as far as like working old leads or generating new business, let us know, man.
Oh yeah, we'll get together after we finish this, and yeah, I need to go and matter of fact, I got a list right now that we sort of scrubbed down. I hate we started. Well, I can still pull it from the original source, but we sort of scrubbed it down on possible leads. The lady that sort of got me more interested in tax deeds. She sort of looked at it or whatever and gave me her thoughts on it. But yeah, so yeah, we'll hook up on that, man, for sure. Most definitely. Like I said, we got a ton in Texas because I did a lot of marketing out there also, so yeah.
Speaking my language.
Texas. Matter of fact, I was in Dallas. What was that? I was in Dallas. It's been less than 30 days. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice, man. Yeah. If you're ever around the San Antonio area, yeah, you got a place to stay. We have a 5,000 square foot sub 2 house that we use as an office. So you got a free Airbnb in San Antonio, and yeah, man, we'll grill some steaks and everything.
Yeah, I'll be out there. I'll be out there before the year is over.
Let's do it, man. Yeah, let me know.
We're gonna do some business. Again, that's the whole purpose I started this FlipMan stuff, man, is to
connection.
You guys.
Man, we're so happy we got the chance to interview you, man. This interview was a lot more fun than I knew it was going to be good, but I didn't know if it was going to be this fun. We got a lot of laughs, lots of good information. I'm glad to hear your story. If you guys are not following the FlipMan on all social media channels, I recommend you do it now. You're on Instagram at Ask FlipMan
and TikTok.
Nice, man. Yeah, always bringing the heat, man. Always bringing the value. Much appreciated. I'm glad we finally got a chance to connect. I'm excited, man. I think we're gonna make a lot of money together.
Yeah, I agree, man. Let's get it. We'll be able to share that content as it happens, guys. So yeah, I'm really appreciative, man, that you guys reached out to me, man. Hey, this has been a great day. Yeah, you made my day already, man.
You made our day, bro. Thank you so much. Heck yeah. Let's do it.
What I'm gonna say, I'm finishing it up, is I appreciate you continue to create content and reach out to the community, because it's no small feat, and you've been doing this stuff for 20 years, and it's amazing. So I hope to be 20 years from now in the trenches, just like you still.
Oh yeah, man. Still a lot of money out there to be made, and a lot of people that want to be educated. So I'll do my part, and hopefully that'll turn into some bread at the same time. So
there you go.
The show is sponsored by The List Guys. Do you need more leads in your local or virtual market? 1 in 10 small businesses don't invest in any kind of marketing. The List Guys have over 35 plus list types to choose from, and you can mix and match any list or criteria. We also use the skip trace list and provide up to 7 numbers and email addresses. Every list you purchase will be scrubbed against previous purchases. The List Guys are here to save you time. Contact the List Guys today at www.1listguys.com. That's www.1listguys.com.
Go follow Ask FlipMan on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. You'll have a great day. Thanks for watching. See you on the next episode.